Welcome back to another episode of Todo Tranquilo. Today, I have a special guest. Very excited. Honestly, I'm still kind of like low-key in shock that you even agreed to this. So thank you. But we have Mvze in the building. Let's get some screams in the background. It's okay. You can say words.
Right? Thank you for having me.
No, thank you for being here. Like, the thing is, like, the way I like kind of, I guess, shot my shot was the weirdest way I possibly could. But I don't know. It's kind of like something inside you where it's like, just do it.
Yeah.
So
it was the best way. Honestly,
I think so. Yeah. So, so like I told you, I didn't tell you in detail, but pretty much I had Javi on, and he definitely like gave you your flowers, gave you your praise, because he said that when he worked with you, when he first started doing music, you were just like so welcoming, so, you know, like nurturing, and like, this is how the way you do it. This is not what you do.
Right.
And when it comes to the music industry, I feel like people aren't so welcoming.
Oh no, not at all. Not at all.
When he told me that, you know, when he mentioned your name, I was like, I haven't heard that name in a while, just because I hadn't caught up with your music. So that's when I was like, okay, let's check out some new music, because that's kind of like I always do, just check out some new music here and there. And I was scrolling through your IG, saw that you did TikToks too.
Yeah.
And I was like, but like not your like corny TikToks, you know? It's like they're like super motivational and super, you know, like nurturing again. But yeah, when I went into that, saw you did that, saw that you were live. And it just so happened that you were live. I don't know if you like normally go live.
Yeah. So I normally go live just about every day. Usually like after 3 p.m., after 4 p.m., you know, when everybody's off work and school and stuff. And I'm usually on there for about an hour or two.
Wow.
Yeah.
So pretty much saw it and I was like, I said something dumb at first. I don't know what I said, but yeah, we connected. I was like, this is crazy. And then when you said on the live, just hit me up on Instagram or something, we'll lock it in. Didn't expect, like, I was like, she's just saying that for the live.
No. So one thing, and I've said it like I think a week ago, we had a conversation. You know, the DMV, this area, I love this area, but there's not enough power players. There's not enough. You know, we have a lot of rappers, we have a lot of artists and stuff, but there's not enough managers, PR, podcasters. You know what I'm saying? And so to hear that you're from the DMV and, you know, you have this podcast that you're doing, hell yeah, I'm going to support it because that's what we need. You know, we need things like this to give us that platform to speak our truth, to spread our music out there. It's so needed. And I'm just so down for it. I've always been the type to, you know, pay it forward, you know, so it ain't no thing.
Wow. Well, thank you. Literally the way you just speak, you definitely just, again, you have that good energy, what's like the good energy? What do you call that, where it's like kind of like the energy around you, the aura?
Yeah, aura. Yeah, that's
it's
the
just
word.
like, you know, when you came in with Pete, like, you guys are just very nice people. Like, you could tell.
Thank you.
Genuine.
I appreciate that.
So
it's crazy because a lot of people think I'm mean.
Really?
Yeah.
I could
Actually?
No. Like, if I was just walking in the street and just like you happen to walk by.
I have a mean ass resting bitch face. I do.
Okay. Well, the funny thing is, like, my wife has the same thing. God bless her. I love her to death. But she has the same thing where it's like, you just look like, don't talk to me.
I know.
But as soon as you get to talking, like, okay,
I'm a sweetheart.
Yeah.
I'm a big sweetheart, a big softie.
But, well, for anybody that may not possibly know you not directly, or just in the internet, you know, you do music, but you recently, I guess, dabbled into kind of, I don't want to just say TikTok, because you post it pretty much anywhere you can, but you do like these kind of like motivational videos too.
Right.
And then I see that you're dabbling into directing.
Ooh.
No?
I love it. He did his research. I love it.
I peeped. But I guess just for the viewers, let's get some of the generic questions out the way. But because I do want to know kind of how you got into it,
Right.
and how long you've been doing it. Because like I think I told you in in our messages that the last song I had from you before I discovered all your new stuff was like a song from 2019. Did you
Okay.
start in 2019 or was it way before that?
Way before.
How long have you been in the game, I guess, for?
Have I been in the game? Probably a good 10 some years.
Wow.
But I also had a name change, so I didn't always go by Mvze. I used to go by a different name.
I guess for the people who know, I definitely didn't do my research enough because I didn't know you went by a different name at all.
Yeah, when I was a baby, I did, and at that time I was signed to a independent label out in Houston, Texas. And we were working together for about a couple years, and then it just we had a falling out and it didn't work out, and I was just at a point where I wanted to rebrand. I wanted to experiment more with being, because I was a rapper at first when I started, but I wanted to experiment more with being a little bit more melodic, and at that time I met my producer, who's my producer still, Mark Henry. And he's done stuff for like Fabulous, Fat Joe, Lil Kim, just Wale, just everybody. And he was the one that really, took me under his wing, and he really produced me, And there's a huge difference between a producer and a beat maker, and he really takes the time to study you as a person, your voice, to know what sounds good, with what you're doing. And he definitely brought out the best in me, and that's how Mvze was born.
That's awesome. I feel like, especially, obviously I've never made music, never even tried, but I feel like if you're doing it from a very young age, there is going to be kind of like that stepping stone where it's like, this is my image right now, can I see longevity in it?
Right.
After
Absolutely.
I hit a certain
Absolutely.
age
Yeah.
or something. So I can definitely see how that actually makes sense if you started so long ago. And it's like, okay, maybe depending on the name, it's like, do I really want to go by that forever? Especially if I really, really set myself up for success.
Right.
Is that name what I want people to know me by?
Exactly.
Or should I rebrand now that I'm still early on to where it's not really going to have an effect on releasing new music or people finding you?
Exactly. No, for real. That's definitely what happened. I just didn't feel like the name at that time, even the type of music that I was making, it just didn't feel like me anymore, So I'm very happy with the change and the direction that I went in. I feel more myself now than I've ever been, and it's just effortless at this point.
Yeah, and I can see why too, where it's like I wanna rap, but maybe I want to throw in some melodic music, some music where it's like I can show the people, hey, I can rap, but I can also sing, and I can hit them notes when I need to.
Yes.
So, and I see that it makes sense. Like I said, I think to that it's probably personal preference on the person, because especially now in the music industry, there are so many females in music than there were before, and accepted at the same time. Where it's like you have a little bit of everything, just how you would in a male presence.
Yeah.
You have the rappers that want to be sensual and sexy. You have the rappers that maybe that's not what they want to do and they want to stick to rap. And then you have, I would say that in your case, you do both. You can be sensual and bring out your inner woman to the point of what you want, but you can also like spit some bars and kill it.
I always say that there's a time and place for everything. There's a time for the turn up, and that's all cool, but there's also a time for that real shit, because at the end of the day, like, we go to the clubs and we party and we get lit, but a lot of people are going through things that they don't speak about because they don't feel like they can. So I definitely like to create that space for people to be able to face it.
One thing I do like about your music is you kind of don't shy away from, I guess, not necessarily like overshare your life, but you don't shy away from, you can tell that you've gone through some past experiences. You've been through the heartache. You've been through people not treating you with respect, and you show that in your music in some ways. And I think that's very powerful, because some people just don't want to overshare their life, or they don't want to say that they've been through something, but you do it in a way where it's like, hey, I've been through that,
Yeah.
but look at me now. I'm here. I overcame the storm, and
Yeah.
it's possible.
Mm-hmm.
Because and you can decide on how much you want to share on that, but because definitely in your music, especially kind of like the ones where maybe you're going through a breakup, or you've been through a breakup, trying to leave somebody that's not the best for you,
Mm-hmm.
and not noticing in that moment.
Oh yeah.
And like, I can't remember which song it was, but
Don't forget to mention.
I think so.
Yeah.
And don't forget to mention.
Yeah.
Okay.
That okay.
But,
know the song too.
Yeah, like in that song, I feel like you were definitely being vulnerable with, your supporters. And it's like,
Yeah.
if you're in a relationship that's not the best for you, leave immediately, and, love yourself before you love anybody else.
Yeah, definitely. And it's crazy because, like, I don't know, when I write music, I don't really think too deep about, like, am I oversharing? Am I not? Like, music has always been something, like, since I was a little girl, like, I was writing, I was writing poems, which eventually turned into songs. Like, I'm a kid, and that's just always been a way for me to kind of soothe my emotions, whatever I was going through when I was a child. I just always turned to a pen and a pad, So when I write these songs, and even after I left that abusive situation, I turned to what I knew would always be there for me, which was music, and just to kind of like express what I went through. That one for sure was honestly like the most vulnerable I've ever been. And it was the hardest record to write. It was the hardest record to record. It was the hardest record to even shoot a video for, because it was literally, we took one of those nights and we just recreated it. And it was hard on everybody, that was at the shoot. The actors, even P was there and he shot it. And there was just a moment where we all had to kind of like take a break. And it wasn't until that day that I realized, like, it was very reassuring for me, because when you're in it, you don't realize how bad it is, because you don't want to believe that it is. You want to believe in the good in somebody, but and that person will make you feel like, oh, you're not going through anything. This isn't abuse. You don't know abuse.
Gaslighting you.
Yeah. And so you believe that. And so when I came back and I started telling my story, and I'm at the shoot and seeing how everybody reacts, and they're telling me like, Anna, this is bad. I'm like, for real? Like, it's bad? Like, are you
like
sure? Like, I'm not
it.
crazy, right? Yeah. And it's just wild, and it was definitely an eye opener for me. And I'm super like happy that I was able to share my story, no matter how hard it was, to everybody else, because again, like, a lot of people suffer in silence. When I was going through it, nobody knew. And nobody would expect me, out of all people, to go through that, because they have this perception of me that I'm this boss, sexy Latina. And it's like, I am all those things, but at the same time, it can happen to anybody.
Yeah.
For real.
Because it, at the end of the day, it's unfortunately, it's like a mental thing.
Yeah,
If somebody fucks with you mentally, you're not going to see those repercussions until the end. And you're like, damn, I really went through all that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially because they don't present themselves as monsters.
That's very true.
They don't. In the beginning, they present themselves as Prince Charming, like super understanding, just everything right. But it's like, once they have you, that's when they start. But by then, it's too late almost. It feels like it's super hard to leave.
Yeah, I feel like with those kind of people, especially men, you don't tend to see it, because you think that, oh, well, they love me so much that they're just overprotective of me. And it's not even overprotection. It's not controlling.
Yeah.
It's not they're not overprotective of you. They're trying to control you and control. And, like I said, I like to consider myself one of the good guys. Shout out to all the good guys out there. And it's hard seeing it, especially if you know somebody that's going through it, or, even, and I may be oversharing here, but like, even, your own mothers sometimes go through relationships when they're not with the parent that was your dad. you see it and it's like, why are you doing this?
Yeah.
Like, and like I said, it's just one of those things that sometimes in those difficult situations, the person involved has to make that decision. Like, I need to stop this.
Oh yeah.
Because it can be, like I said, it can be so mentally damaging to the mental, where you don't know when to cut it off.
Yeah.
You think it's normal.
Exactly.
Like,
and
I'm not the only one going through this. Is regular relationship stuff.
exactly. And just like off of what you were saying about, seeing our parents, like if they've gone through it, excuse me, that was so ugly. If they've gone through it, we grow up thinking that that's love. That's what a relationship is. And, when I came back, I started realizing, like, I don't know any happy, healthy relationships around me. Not even with my peers.
Yeah.
Either everybody's stuck on being single or just having options and fucking around, or people are in that back and forth, hot and cold kind of relationship.
Yeah.
So I remember when I was in that relationship, I was thinking about the ones that I do know, and I was like, well, they've gone through some things like that, so maybe it's just my turn. Maybe that's just a part of life. Maybe that's
part
just
of the
love.
relationship.
Yeah. So you stick it out a little bit longer than you should, and it's really hard. And at the same time too, like, a lot of these abusers are really smart. They know that you're a very empathetic person, and so they tug on that, and they talk a lot about, oh, this happened to me, and you understand because maybe some things happened to you too, and so you guys kind of have that trauma bond. You guys relate, and you think, well, maybe I could show him different. Maybe I could show him I'm not like the rest of them. I'm not going to leave him. So I'm just going to do everything in my power. It's hard.
Because you're the good person in that, in that situation. So obviously you're going to do what's just naturally right to you and be that good person. But like I said, it's just like, you don't see when you're doing that too much to the point of you're the one actually being abused, not the other way around. But no, like I said, I can sense that you're just a good person, and then it sucks that it is the good people that go through this, because it's kind of like se dejan.
Yeah.
You see it a lot, especially in like people. Sometimes people have their own businesses, and you see how good they are with other people.
Yeah.
And it's like they get into a certain situation and they get, like fucked over. And it's like, how did you not see this?
Yeah.
And it's like, good people just don't see the bad outcomes of anything.
Yeah.
It's not a normal thing.
Yeah.
They just expect the good out of everybody.
Yeah.
Which sucks that you can't think like that sometimes. Especially, but I feel like things are changing. Because people do speak out a lot more. Mental illness is now something that we take very serious.
Oh yeah.
And it's not, I think partially you see it's like slowly becoming a thing in the Latino culture, because you don't see that a lot.
You don't. You really don't.
It comes down to just being a kid and having these nicknames like Gordito or,
Oh my goodness, yes.
And the thing is, like, sometimes I want to be like, oh, but no, it's not like that. But you have to look at it a different light and just see how that can be damaging to somebody growing up.
Words are power.
They really are.
Yeah.
But I think that's why music is such a big thing too.
Yeah.
It's because words are power.
Yeah.
Music can help people get through a lot of different things. But
exactly.
Part of the issues we have, well, I think within the Latin culture, is just the way we've been brought up, the way things are, like machismo-ness.
Absolutely.
That's something that luckily you don't see it anymore. And things are consistently changing. So all I can hope for is the best in our future. But I think our generations, the ones currently and future generations, are going to do a good job to break these things where people aren't having these bad relationships.
Oh yeah. It's definitely going to take time, and it's going to take a village. And that's why, things like what you're doing is so important, because you're giving somebody like me a platform to speak on my experience. You know what I'm saying? And we don't know who it's going to touch or resonate with. You know what I'm saying? So absolutely.
Thank you.
Of course. Of course.
Well, that was we got kind of deep in there.
Yeah.
I think it's nice to have those deep little conversations just to know that, hey, we're all human and we all go through emotions.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
not, and life isn't unfortunately filled with happiness all the time.
Oh yeah, I'm a saddie and a baddie.
But yeah, going back to your music, what would you say is like your favorite record that you've put out so far?
That's a hard one because it's like these are all like my children. These are my babies. It's kind of like choosing
every song has something.
Yeah, they were all like a different moment in time. Well, actually, I will say that my favorite record at the moment right now is On a High, which is my newest single that I dropped yesterday. So I'm really, really excited about it. And it's just such an empowering record. It's a fun, empowering record. You know, it's basically about going through some rough things. And there are people in your life that are just preying on your downfall. And they didn't think that you'd come out of your darkness, you know? And it's just about living in that, living in your truth and, you know, just staying focused, just like healing on the low, winning on the low. Like we don't got to prove nothing to nobody. You know what I'm saying? So
I feel like you've been through that a lot. And unfortunately, it's because you're a woman.
yes.
And like I said, now women are being a lot more socially acceptable in the music industry. But I can imagine that you've probably had to go over some big hurdles to make it this far.
Definitely, especially since I've been doing music for this long. Yeah.
What do you think was like the biggest hurdle in your music career where it's like, I heard about me possibly hitting this roadblock, but I didn't think it'd be this big?
I want to say it was like two things. I mean, the one thing for sure was people always told me that I had to over-sexualize myself. You know?
Yeah.
That one person from this area even had told me, he was like a videographer, he had told me that I needed to get my body done. And that was the only way that I was going to make it. And he gave an example, and I don't even know if it's true, but I think it's fucked up regardless, that Nati Natasha, the only reason why she blew up was because she got her body done. According to him. And I think that is extremely disrespectful.
That is disrespectful because I feel like when you say something like that, you're taking away from the work that person has done.
Yes, exactly. And she's super talented. Like, get the fuck out of here.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
That even happened to you. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, and I've heard that like a couple of times from like different people, you know, that know nothing about music, but they want to put the little 2 cents in there talking about what I need to do in order to succeed. Like,
you know, the people say all this. Well, I say this all the time too. It's like everybody's entitled to their opinion, but unfortunately, there are some stupid opinions out there.
And I always say, before you take the criticism, look at the source.
Ooh,
always.
I like that.
Yeah,
that's crazy. My whole thing on that, like over sexualizing in music, especially because it's just when it comes to women in music, it really is, and it sucks. But I feel like the only reason why that, you know, the only way that it should go about, it's like if the artist wants to do that.
Right.
And on their time.
Yeah.
It's like if I'm planning to do it, I'll do it when I feel like it. But that really that takes away a lot from the talent that people have. Women in general, when you have to tell them, well, it's because you're not being too sexy. You're not showing enough skin.
Yeah.
Like I said, luckily now, like that, when it comes to women in music, it's come a long way.
Oh yeah,
but
absolutely.
That's crazy that you went through that.
Yeah, I got a couple more that just came to my head now.
I thought about, you know, the crazy thing is like that's what first comes to mind. It's like when you think of a woman in her music career, it's like at some point there is gonna be that conversation where it's like, oh well, when you're performing tonight, maybe don't you think you should wear this? And it's like some skimpy outfit instead of
absolutely
something casual. It's like why the and the song isn't like a sexy song, but they still want to over sexualize the artist.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's crazy.
It's so fucking sad. And I've dealt with so much. Like a lot of it was image, you know, like my entire or majority of my music career, I was told that I was fat. Like, and it makes me so mad. Like when I was signed to my label, they used to tell me that I was fat and I needed to lose weight and I needed a bigger butt. And it would just, when I look back at pictures now, I was so skinny. And I'm just like, how? Like, how was I just like, not good enough, you know?
Wow, that's
and so
crazy.
it was always a battle with myself. And you know, when me and P started dating, because me and P have known each other since 2018, but we've always been friends and we've always worked. And he's always known me to be like, just on the surface, I'm good, you know? But when me and him started dating, he was like, you're insecure? Like, what are you insecure about?
Yeah.
And he would kind of get upset with me a couple of times in the beginning because he just didn't understand,
Yeah.
you know? And I had to explain to him, I was like, look, like, I've had so many people over the years, like, try to tell me that that I'm not enough, that I don't look the part.
Wow.
So it's like, it's a battle within myself that I have to learn how to, like, I don't want to say erase, but kind of like erase what they've told me. You know,
it's not true.
It's not true. It's not true at all. You know, but it's like, as a woman, you face so much. Like, it's like, you got to be super sexy. You got to, like, have the perfect body, this, and that. But it's just like, man, the past year or two, I done made so much success just off of speaking real shit. So nobody can tell me nothing at this point.
Yeah.
Nobody can tell me a damn thing. So.
Yo, talk your shit. Seriously. I feel like you've been waiting for like.
I know, I woke up on the right side of the bed today.
I love it.
But it's because of you. You're giving me like a good conversation. And this is what I say. This is needed.
Yeah.
This is needed.
And I mean, that's personally what I want. It's like, I want people to come in here and feel comfortable. Don't want them to feel like, here comes another interview. Here comes the same 10 questions everybody asks. You know, but thank you again. You know, I genuinely didn't think you'd gone through all this.
Just I got one more too.
Because of the success that you had. That's why.
Oh,
you know,
I don't even know. I mean, I know how I'm still here. God, thank you, God. But yeah, man, it's just, I feel like sometimes I've lived so many lives. Like, I feel like a cat. Like I have 9 lives and I'm still here smiling.
No.
Hey, guys.
I'm here. No, that's great. And like, and we'll touch on some other, like, one of the things that, like, to me, I'm excited to ask you about, even if there's not too many details. But I get giddy when people like you get on here and aren't shy to talk about some of the past experiences without going too deep, because sometimes people do need to kind of hear it, you know? Absolutely. And I think you're a great representation of just consistently working hard and loving yourself. And even though you're going to come through these adversaries, that you can come out on the other side shining bright. Definitely. Again, just thank you. I deeply apologize for all that you've gone through.
That's okay.
Unfortunately, it possibly could happen again, just because there are some evil people out in the world, especially in the music industry. Yeah. But before we go on the break, only because you mentioned P and you mentioned the whole dating, and this was just out of curiosity that I went, like I said, I went on deep dive to your page, and then I noticed that, like, you had somebody, you were dating somebody. Not that, like, she keeps you a secret. She definitely doesn't. She definitely doesn't. Because you know how, like, some artists, it's like, I can't really tell people whether I'm dating somebody or not. Right. It's all different. Yeah. Every artist is different. So you definitely don't shy away from, like, letting people, you know, letting your audience know, hey, I do have somebody in my corner with me and my partner. But I saw a post that you posted, P, where it was just I don't know you guys for that long, but like, you can tell the connection you guys have. You guys are kind of just there for each other. And in any way, especially the fact that you guys are kind of like in the same space of content creating. But I saw a post that he posted where it was like, you know, I admire you from afar for so long, and now, like, we're together. And it was just like a really nice post. And it just seems like you had, you know, unfortunately, when you go through these rough relationships, these relationships that aren't healthy, and you find one that is, you see the day and night difference. Oh yeah. Where it's absolutely. Like, what I thought was an actual relationship or what people go through on a normal basis wasn't that. Yeah. This is what people go through on a normal basis. This is a real relationship and a healthy one. Yeah. So just congratulations for you just coming this far in life.
Thank you.
Because with all that, it can be damaging to a person, and some
Oh,
people
yes.
can't come back from that.
Shout out my therapist.
But I think it's time for a break and ask you some more questions.
Okay.
Maybe we'll get more deep. Maybe we won't. Who knows?
I'm excited.
We'll be right back. We're back from the little commercial break. Had to stretch my legs out. My body doesn't work the same way it used to. Let's just say that. But yeah, like I was telling you just off the podcast, you don't see, like, you seem so like sure of yourself, so confident that I would have never thought you've gone through what you've gone through. But fortunately, sometimes you don't have to show your battle scars all the time.
Yeah. No, yeah. Yeah, we were like saying this off camera too. I don't know, like growing up, I seen my parents, my mom specifically, having to do a lot of thugging it out, One time I seen her go to the bathroom and shed her a few tears, and she came back out and it was just back to work, And I think I carried a lot of that, growing up, especially being in the music industry, because it's so hard. It's so much, I just kind of just go with it and I thug it out. But over time, I realized that wasn't okay, because you're not giving that time to yourself to process what you're feeling. You're kind of just, throwing it under the rug. And then it's going to get to a point where everything just kind of comes out, or you're in like a tricky situation and you don't even know how you got there.
Yeah.
So it's very important to take those breaks, and very necessary, to do a check on yourself, make sure you're straight, and to feel the feels, because it's okay to feel the feels.
Recollect yourself, go through the emotions.
Yeah.
Because that's something, again, like coming back to like Latin culture, it's like people don't do that in our space, in our area.
Tears don't pay the bills.
Yeah, yeah, it's too bad, so sad.
Yeah.
It's the first of the month next week. Let's get back to work.
Yep. Yeah.
And it just sucks. Like, but slowly but surely, we're gonna get there to a space where it's like everybody feels comfortable, and if not, I feel like we're kind of there already.
Yeah.
Especially with our parents, like, takes a while for parents now to kind of understand, but they're understanding.
Yeah, definitely, for sure.
One thing I do want to touch on that's kind of like not music related is kind of like the motivational videos that you do out there. Like you'll just, where you talk about a specific topic briefly and you give your 2 cents, and then you kind of leave it to the audience also to like take a step back and look at that certain topic and think about what they've gone through.
Yeah.
When did those start? Did that start when TikTok started becoming a thing?
No.
Or did you always post those like on IG?
No, not at all. It started back in 2021, end of 2021, like November, December. It was when I left the abusive relationship that I was in. And I would spend a lot of time with myself. I would just be driving around, and I had recorded a video of myself just kind of like talking to myself, giving myself words of encouragement. And I just decided to post it. And I did not expect it to do what it did, but to see how much it impacted a lot of people, it was also very reassuring for me, because in the comments, people would be brave enough to share their stories. When I posted the first video, I didn't speak on anything that I went through. I was just kind of like generalizing my emotions, but people just, they were brave enough to share their story, and it made me feel less alone, so I continued it, and, together we built a community, where everything is about, surviving, these terrible things that happen to a lot of us that we don't really speak on enough. And I just continued it, and I didn't expect it to get this big, And at first I only did it on TikTok, and I only did it on TikTok at first because nobody knew me on there. You know,
It felt fresh. Like it's like
Yeah.
nobody knows I make
nobody
music
can
on
judge
here.
me. Nobody. And whereas in Instagram, people have been following me for years. They know
Yeah.
all about me. So it's like I wasn't necessarily ready to share like my thoughts or my
it feels
feelings.
like a little less vulnerable.
Yeah, no, for real. And I didn't start moving on to Instagram and starting to do it there till this year, you know, where I felt like, I don't know, I guess I just became more confident in myself, in my truth, where it's like, you know what, like, I don't have to prove anything to anybody. This is me. This is who I am. This is what I've gone through. And this is what I'm doing to move on and move forward. I don't care. I'm just going to do me.
Yeah.
And I just posted it and it's been going really well. And to see that it's impacting a lot more people, that's pretty fucking cool, you know? So yeah. It's been since 2021.
That's crazy. No, I mean like just those videos, because like I saw a couple on TikTok, like I said. Once I was there, I was like, okay, like let's check out her TikTok too. And it definitely, I think it's just like with those videos, you make those people feel a little bit comfortable to talk their experiences.
Oh yeah.
Because you did it, where it's like you're creating a space where let's all talk about our feelings. It's
Right.
okay to talk about them, and let's push through those problems.
Yeah, not for sure. And I always, thank my supporters too, because as much as they thank me for like helping them, they've helped me so much. Like, especially when we go on the lives and we go on every day, it really feels like group therapy sessions. And that was something that I've always wanted to do, but I was always so scared to do. You know how like they have group therapy sessions with people that have gone through what you've went through. Like I was always scared to do that because it just made it feel 10 times more real, So the fact that I was able to do that through live, it was like, all right, it's kind of like that. And we're helping each other.
No, that's great. Do you think you've gotten like some people that discover your music through there, where it's like they look at your TikToks because of, they're there for a reason, kind of like to show their emotions, and then they find out that you do music and they fall more in love with like.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Especially because a lot of my songs too are real songs, like I talk about basically the same thing that I speak on in my motivational TikToks, so they kind of coincide. And especially when I drop Don't Forget to Mention, that's everybody's favorite.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's bittersweet because it's like, it's nice, that everybody loves this song. But at the same time, it's like, there's so many people that go through this and it's insane. It's so insane. And it breaks my heart, but I'm glad that at least there's something out there for people that are going through it. Because when I was going through it, I didn't know anybody that was going through what I was going through. I didn't have nothing really to turn to. If anything, it was a Netflix show that brought me out of that, and it was The Show Made. And that show was basically about a lady that's in an abusive relationship. She has a child, and her whole experience, like getting out of that. So to know that my TikToks and my music can be that light for people at the end of the tunnel, it's like, that's what this is about,
Yeah,
So.
you're doing an amazing job, seriously.
Thank you.
Like, and that's what I like about your music is you have a little bit of something for everything.
Yeah.
If you want to turn up, I got a little bit of that.
Yeah.
If you want to get in your feelings, go through it. I got some of that. And it's great. Like I said, it seems more of a calculated move where it's like, that's why I want to be more melodic and not just super rap always in your face.
Right. Yeah.
I want to be able to share my emotions through my music. And I feel like you can do it a lot better when you're more melodic. Maybe you throw some singing tracks out there. So
Yeah.
I can definitely see why you made that change. And luckily you did.
Thank you.
One of the cool things that I did want to talk about, just because like I like sneakers, is I guess your shoe deal. What is it, like through DTLR or was it through New Balance?
So it was through DTLR, and DTLR had a partnership with New Balance, basically.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Was that this year or last year?
It was this year. It was the month of February.
It was.
Yeah.
It was recent. That recent. Like I saw it, but I didn't put like the dates in there. But that's like I'm kind of disappointed you didn't wear them today. But,
I know.
but that's awesome. How was that experience? Or like even being a part of that? Like,
Man, it's definitely something that I've always dreamed of and like prayed for. I've been rocking with DTLR for some years, you know, basically since I started being animes, you know. I've always known them, did the interviews with them, was played in stores. And I've always wanted like a kind of like shoe partnership or even to have my picture in the store. I always wanted the whole shebang, you know. And I was blessed enough to have met one of like the heads of DTLR. And I met her like this last summer, 2023, and we just been rocking ever since, you know. And she's acting as my manager right now, and I love it because it's a female, and she understands, you know. But she's been holding it down, you know what I'm saying? And so she's, you know, always like fighting for me, whatever opportunity that she feels fits my brand or the moment, like she's gonna hit me up. And she recommended me to the people in charge of like the social media department. And they looked me up and they loved it. And so they were like, oh, she's perfect for this shoe partnership. And so they reached out. And I was like, fuck yeah. And it was just incredible.
Sick,
and especially it being New Balance, because New Balance is such a DC shoe and I'm from DC. So it's like,
I was just going to say
it makes sense. Yeah.
I saw that. Like, that was a pleasant surprise because I was like, you know, like as an artist, your fashion sense has to be kind of, you know, upgraded, if you will. And I saw that you like, you know, you're definitely into sneakers too. And then when I saw that you had your sneaker like deal, I was like, okay, that's so sick. Cause I know DTLR is kind of like for the DMV. They've released a couple of shoes with New Balance. And like that would have put me on a high. I would tell you that much.
Yeah.
Like
no,
that's
for
sick.
sure.
Especially like wearing the shoe.
I know.
Where it's
I
like,
loved it. I was so happy, especially because he has like two 9060s and they don't sell a lot of like women's or kids in the stores, or at least I haven't like came across them. You kind of have to go online. But I wanted to like try them on to make sure I get the right size before I order online. And so when they sent me my own personal New Balance 9060, I was like, finally, like I prayed for this and they're here.
I worked so hard.
Yeah.
That is. Do you think like would you be interested to like do something else with that? Like maybe with like a Nike?
Yes. I told him to keep me like in mind for any future releases. So that's absolutely.
Sick. What do you think was your biggest accomplishment last year? Because I think we're only like it's March 2nd though. What was your biggest accomplishment? I guess, and give me two. One in life.
Okay.
Where it could be something personal like that maybe you did, and then one with your music career.
Okay. One in life will for sure have to be last year in May. I was booked for an event where we speak on like sexual abuse, domestic abuse, and things like that. And they had asked me to, you know, say a speech. I wrote like a 6-minute long speech. And I don't ever get nervous for shows for real. Like it's easy for me. But I was having a panic attack before I went on that stage. And it's crazy because before that, I thought I was healed from what I went through. You know, because after 2021, 2022, I was like, I'm just going to put it behind me and move forward. And I didn't deal with it. I just put it to the side, back to work, you know? But it wasn't until then that I realized that I am not okay. Like I'm still very much bothered. And when I did the speech, like I was like crying. Like I just didn't realize how much it affected me. And it was in that moment where I realized I needed to go back to therapy because I had stopped doing therapy. But I went back, I made the appointment with my therapist, and that was honestly like the best decision I've made in my personal life because it allowed me to, you know, really talk about, you know, what I'm going through, what I went through, to process everything, even into eventually getting into a new relationship. You know, a lot of the times when you come from a toxic relationship going into a healthy relationship, that in itself can be so triggering because you're not used to it. You know, you find so much peace in the chaos for years that when you finally have something that is just peaceful, you're like, what the fuck is this? You know?
Or you're waiting for something to
Yes.
happen.
And in the beginning, I would tell him, I was like, I feel like something bad's gonna happen. Like we would go on dates and I'm just like anxious, like tapping my knee all the time. Like I feel like something bad's gonna happen. And nothing bad would happen, you know? So my therapist definitely helped me process the whole relationship and to help me find the differences. You know, this person was intentionally trying to hurt me. This person is not doing that, you know? So definitely that has been a great thing in 2023, just going back to therapy for sure.
That's great.
Yeah.
It's hard to, I think it's hard to know that you're possibly damaged and you need to seek professional help. It can be hard because then you're like, oh, I don't need that. You know, that's for other people with bigger problems where you kind of downplay your situations.
Yes.
And
that's a real thing.
So that's what's crazy though, that you had to kind of like speak about it more to know that I'm not fully healed. How was that event? Like, I'm sure that it was hard for you to like hold back tears, especially while doing this speech.
Yeah. And at first, before the speech, I had to perform Don't Forget to Mention. So and the videos in the background and everything. So it's like, as soon as the song starts, like I literally missed the first few bars of my song because I'm crying on stage. Like never have I ever cried on stage. And I'm just like breaking down. And people were just like looking at me and I was like, fuck.
Remember, you gotta sing this. That's crazy. Yeah. Now, I can't imagine how that feel like, but I'm sure you helped a lot of people that day. Honestly.
Yeah. It was definitely like a powerful event for sure.
And what would you say is like your biggest music accomplishment in your eyes?
Music accomplishment, I would say last March 2023, I put on my first tour on my own with my team.
How was it? And I want you to be honest with me. I guess give me some pros and give me some cons of touring, because I've heard two different sides to it. Some people really like touring, other people hate it.
It was like a hate-love thing for me, only because I felt like I was wearing two hats at the same time. And I couldn't really enjoy the tour as much as I wanted to. Like as an artist, you know, as an artist, I love doing shit like that. I love touring. I love performing. I love everything. But I wasn't able to enjoy that because I was also the one managing everything, running everything, you know, and that is so stressful, you know, and I did it on my birthday. Like a year ago, I did the show at Songbird in DC on my birthday, you know, so it's like, I even put like my personal self to the side to, you know, be animes and stuff like that. But it was just, it did let me know that like, I literally can do anything and I can adapt to whatever it is. You know, I can go from artist to being a manager, you know, a tour manager, to being a creative director, you know, to doing podcasts. Like I can literally adapt to anything if I really set my mind to it. You know what I'm saying? So it was an eye opener for me. And I pat myself on the back for being able to orchestrate that whole thing, because I've never done that.
Yeah.
I've never done that.
It's tough.
Yeah.
Just because you don't know what it takes to really bring all the pieces to the, you know, to the puzzle. Do you think that you ever like maybe put too much on your plate, where it's like you have to take a step back and it's like you can't do it all sometimes?
Yeah, I think I've definitely, after that, I started the process of like, I mean, it's been like a couple of years. It's been a process of letting go, that I just can't do everything by myself, you know? And I've been practicing that a lot more now, you know, and just trying to structure my time a little better and to make sure that I include time for just me, you know, and a break as well.
Yeah. I mean, given what you've been through, I think it's probably harder to let go because you know you want things done in a certain way, and you don't want the people that you bring in to guide you into a different direction that you're not necessarily trying to go through.
Yeah.
So I can see where it's like, I have to do it all, because if it's not done the way I want it, I'm not going to be happy with it.
Yeah. And it's also just hard finding the pieces, like the people that understand their role and understand the importance of their role. You know, a lot of people want to be in the front, even if their role isn't supposed to be in the front. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I don't know. It's hard finding those pieces. And over the years in my whole music career, I've always tried to build a team, you know, but it's just egos get in the way of a lot of that. And that's why now there's only like a few standing. It's me, my producer, engineer, P, and my graphic designer. It's been this core for like a few years now, you know, but to find somebody to run like the business stuff, I would really love, because that is a headache.
No, especially because you're doing everything. Like it can be too much, even with the team you have, because everybody has to wear multiple hats. It can be a stressful situation, and unfortunately, you're gonna have to bring on more people to your team.
Yeah, I know,
because I can already see, like, you know, this is just, you've been doing this for so long, and you know, sometimes with artists, when you do kind of like have that blow up moment, other people from the outside see it as an overnight success.
Oh yeah.
And don't see the hard work that has been put in. But you still, I can tell that you still have a lot more to grow. Like you have a lot more to offer.
Yeah.
Everybody that supports you, and I know me, I'm happy to rediscover your music again, because like again, I knew you made music back in like 2019, but you know where it's like you follow an artist, then you kind of like slowly drift away from it, and then you rediscover them again. It's like they have all this new music, and that's how it kind of felt when I rediscovered your music again, where it's like she's released so much, and you and one other person that I actually had on, that's how it was, where it's like I loved your music already. And then somewhere down the road, it like drifted off of my brain, and I had to like look at some new stuff.
Yeah.
You know? And, you know, it's like, again, it's just exciting to have you on my podcast talking about some of the things that most people don't feel comfortable talking about.
Yeah.
And I think it's nice, especially coming from a woman instead of a man. Sometimes men as ourselves, we don't know how to explain things, and sometimes it can come off a certain way. Yeah. Even when you're not intentionally trying to give off that, feelings aren't validated, if you will.
Yeah.
So it's just, I'm just glad you were able to come here, talk about your past experiences and what you've gone through in your life, and kind of maybe it resonates with somebody out there.
Oh yeah,
and
definitely.
You know, they come out again, not the tunnel shining. Is there anything that you're excited for? I know you mentioned that you're gonna do a video shoot for your newest single. Is there anything else that we could look out for? Maybe a new project?
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely gonna be releasing singles like once a month for sure. More TikTok content, but something that I am gonna start tapping into is podcasting. You heard it here first.
Heard it here first. Animes in the podcast.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna start podcasting soon. We'll probably shoot the pilot sometime in April, maybe. We'll see.
Well, I'll be looking out. I'm excited for that, honestly.
Yeah, and it's beautiful too, because when I was young, I had this class in high school. It was radio production, and so that's when, like, you know, I started learning that, and I wanted to be the next Angie Martinez. You know, I wanted to be a radio personality. You know, and when I went to college, my whole dream was to create a whole radio program and to do radio for the college. I ended up dropping out because music took over. And I had to travel back and forth.
But now
now it's full circle.
Yeah, now it's full circle, and you can do what you originally wanted to do.
Yeah.
And that's like endless promo for you, honestly.
I know, right?
Consistently, just, you know, after
music.
Hey, also, I'm gonna be dropping a single. That's perfect.
Yeah.
That's honestly sick. I know I'm excited for that.
Yeah.
I'm sure you're gonna do great.
Thank you. I am a little nervous about it, but
I think that what you've done. How many podcasts do you think you've done besides that? Like, what would you say number wise? Like, is this the 5th, 6th, 8th podcast you've done?
Like interview
podcast? Have you done just like so many? It's hard to
I've
keep
done
count.
a lot in my time.
I think I think the beauty of podcasting, especially when you start doing your own, is navigating it to your liking
Yeah.
and having the conversations you want to have.
That's true. That's very true. Yeah.
So I'm sure you're gonna love it.
Thank you.
Tell the people where they can find your music, TikTok, whatever. Plug in anything you want to plug in.
Okay.
Right now.
What's good, everybody? This is Anna Mvze. You can follow me absolutely everywhere. It's Anna Mvze, Anna with 2 N's, Mvze. So check me out. Follow me. Instagram, TikTok, Spotify, Apple Music, everything. I got a whole lot of stuff coming soon, and you don't want to miss out.
Love that. And for everybody who watches the podcast, you can find the podcast on Apple Podcast, Spotify, and YouTube, so you can see our beautiful faces. I know you guys want to see mine. So thank you again for coming on, talking about your life. I genuinely, you don't understand how grateful I am.
Of course.
And it's been great. It's been great talking to you, kind of getting to know you a little bit. Mm-hmm. And, you know, if you ever want to come on again, you just give me a quick holler.
Yes. Appreciate you so much for having me.
All right, guys. Have a good day. Hope your weekend, whenever you're watching this, hearing this, hope you have a good day. Todo Tranquilo Podcast.